All right, I'm really excited to introduce today's speaker, Kristen Nicole Moser. She is an experienced event producer, stage manager, and director of operations with a very strong background in large-scale event management, team leadership, and operations oversight. She holds a bachelor's in business focused on music marketing from Eastern Kentucky University. Over the years, Kristen has built a very impressive career working on major festivals, concerts, corporate events, and televised productions. Her work includes events like Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, who I bet a lot of you here have actually worked on here in Nashville, CMA Awards, Nashville's New Year's Eve Bash, and Live in the Vineyard. She's managed teams of 100 plus and multi-million dollar budgets. She's a pro at logistics, site management, CAD design, production management, and talent coordination. She recently launched her own company called Live Events Amplified, and she continues to be a key player in the live event space. So please give a big warm welcome to Kristen Moser. She is loading on in here.
Hi.
Who here has worked with Kristen before? We got some hands raising. Yeah, awesome. Um, really cool. A lot of you don't know Kristen or have worked with her, so really, really cool opportunity. Again, lastly, before I give it over to Kristen, use this chat as much as possible. Leave comments. At the end, we're going to do a Q&A and we're going to call on you guys and spotlight you to ask your question. But feel free to please leave them. Hey, Whitney, she's worked with Kristen, to put your questions in the Q&A. All right, enough of me. And Kristen, let's spotlight you here again.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I just want to start by saying thank you to Nikki and Gigs for giving me this great opportunity and honor to kick off the first Gigs Mentor Masterclass series. So also thank you to everyone that's carved out time to be here with us. I'm really excited about it. Miss Annabelle is going to share a little PowerPoint for us that I will use as I go through. Thanks, Annabelle. So for those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Kristen Moser, and I'm a freelance event producer. So today I'm going to share my journey and offer some tips about getting started in the event industry and making a career of working freelance events. So a career in live events was destined from the start, as I was born into a family working in the industry. My parents, Kelly and Robert Moser, owned Mideast Entertainment, which was a booking agency located in Lexington, Kentucky. Their company booked bands, DJs, specialty acts, and national recording artists for clients in the tri-state area. In addition to that, my dad had his own DJ system, Dance Tracks, and a 10-piece dance band called The Sensations. And now my mom continues to run the company under the name Kelly Vance. Next slide, Annabelle. So from a young age, I started attending events, including a show my parents produced in 1993 with Tim McGraw, and in 1994 with Martina McBride, where I actually got to sing with her. Now, as I got older, I started working in the office, which was located in our basement. I would make copies of promotional videos, which were VHS tapes, and mail those out to clients because you couldn't send videos. Or I would put on promotional stickers on plastic tambourines and pass them out at gigs. Then I started working as a secretary by answering phones, typing up contracts on the typewriter with carbon copy paper. So if that doesn't tell you how long I've been doing this. Now, once I got old enough to be used for manual labor, I started working as a roadie for the DJ system and dance band. I would load in those 4-foot-high JBL speakers, basically bigger than me, with a dolly. I'd run microphone cables and operate the 16-channel light board during the gigs. Now, before I could drive, I started DJing, school dances and private parties, and my neighbor would drive me to help set up the system. And then finally, when I was old enough, I started singing in my dad's band for weddings and corporate events. Now, having this opportunity to gain experience in so many aspects of the industry made me fall in love with it, and it solidified the course to have a career working in the business. It also taught me to say yes to every chance and know that I can learn how to do anything that I put my mind to. So next slide, Annabelle. Next up is college. So I attended Eastern Kentucky University and gained a bachelor's in business with an emphasis in music marketing. In college, I joined a number of clubs and organizations, but for this, we're going to talk about the Student Activities Council. For that, I was concert chair. And as concert chair, I got to book and produce a number of concerts for the school, which was such an incredible opportunity and learning experience. This was my first chance to manage a budget, to work directly with booking agencies, to market an event, oversee ticketing, recruit volunteers, and train a team to put on an awesome show. EKU also gave me an opportunity to attend NAMM, the National Association for Music Merchants, and NACA, the National Association for Campus Activities, which are amazing conferences and a great networking opportunity if you get the chance to go. Now, for Nashville folks, Belmont, MTSU, and Vanderbilt have great music industry programs and have direct ties to a number of events in Nashville. I personally reach out to schools directly when I have openings to bring in new people to events. So as I'm working, I encourage everyone to join groups. If you're still in school, they're a great way to get involved. My next chapter started with a thanks to Facebook. Next slide, Annabelle. While in college, I received a message on Facebook from Michael Jordan. I know, I thought the same thing, but no, not the basketball player. His profile said he worked for Clear Channel Communications in Lexington, and he saw that I worked events and asked if I wanted to work with him on some upcoming shows. I jumped at the chance to meet him for coffee at Starbucks, as you do, and then got to help him with Red, White, and Boom, which was Lexington's July 4th concert, a series of shows at Elk Creek Vineyards, and the World Equestrian Games. Now, working these shows showed me how much I loved working festivals. There's something about the long days and the multiple artists and total chaos that is always exhausting and exhilarating at the same time. Now, I started researching other nearby festivals, and the Big O Fest in Owensboro, Kentucky popped up. So I reached out and asked how to volunteer. Thankfully, they agreed. And as with all shows, I've learned to always be early, to stay late, to go above and beyond. And by doing what is asked, but also anticipating the needs of people around you and going the extra mile. So after volunteering as a production assistant, my first year, I was hired back as the backstage manager for years 2 through 7. So from a young age, thanks to my love for country music and live events, I knew when I graduated college, I would need to make the move to Nashville. Next slide. So I took the leap after graduation and moved to Nashville without a job. A tour manager friend I'd met while working shows let me rent a room from him since he was always on the road until I got on my feet. I started out by joining Crew 1 as a stagehand. Now, I have so much respect for stagehands after that experience, as it is not for the faint of heart. I bought steel-toe boots, a hard hat, and a wrench, and then I was set to work my first show. I worked 4 shows at Bridgestone Arena: Muse, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift. So not a bad lineup. But I soon realized that the physical labor kicked my butt, and I was not up for the challenge. I continued to send out my resumes to anyone I could find to connect with. I volunteered at CMA Fest, and in the meantime, I took a job as a bartender at the Grove Country Club in College Grove to pay the bills. Now, at my 3rd year of working the Big O Fest, I heard that a bigwig from ACM was attending the show and was on the backstage guest list. Now, I've always wanted to work ACM or CMA, so I knew I had to meet this man. I might have been stalking his whereabouts all day, and as he was leaving catering, I stopped him, I introduced myself, and gave him a quick elevator pitch as to why I would love to work with him. His name is Eric Long, and at the time, he was the Senior Vice President of Operations and Events at the Academy of Country Music. Post-event, I found him on LinkedIn, and we were able to connect. He asked for a meeting to wrap up his Big O Fest report, and then asked if I wanted to come to the ACM Honors. Again, I jumped at the chance, asked if I could help in any way, and thankfully, Eric is one of the nicest, kindest, most caring people I've ever met, and he gave me a chance. Next slide. This truly kickstarted my journey into acronyms. While working ACM Honors, I got to meet Sarah Foster, another absolutely wonderful person, who gave me the opportunity to work CMA Awards and CMA Country Christmas as a talent escort. This then turned into working ACM Party for a Cause, then the ACCA's American Country Countdown Awards, AFCA's American Football Coaches Awards, CMT Awards, you name the acronym, and I probably worked it. Over the years and before gigs, now it's a whole different game. Thank you, Nikki. I've built an event staffing list that now consists of 600 plus people that I've had the pleasure of meeting, working with, or people who have been recommended to me. So I now hire and manage the talent escorts for CMA Awards, among other shows, and use this network of people to staff these positions. Now, I truly believe when getting into the event industry, the best way to get started is to volunteer or to start as a production assistant or a talent escort. It's an amazing way to learn about the events, meet people who have worked the show, and be able to work your way up within the organization. I would say probably 80% of the events that I've worked and the ones that I still work, I started out in one of those positions. Now, being in Nashville, I started seeing the big events that the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation were producing, and I knew I wanted to get involved with those as well. Next slide. So I didn't have any contacts with the city yet, so I reached out to anyone I could find online and just sent cold emails. I first emailed David Spencer, the Vice President of Events, in June of 2015 to see if he could point me in the right direction to get involved with the New Year's Eve event. After a month, I had not heard back. So I followed up. I always recommend following up. David responded and asked me if I wanted to meet for coffee. Again, the Nashville way. We met for coffee the next week, and after our meeting, I sent a follow-up thank you email for him for taking the time and chatting with me, and I didn't hear back until September 22nd, when he told me he'd be reaching out soon about New Year's Eve. What a dream. So I started working with the city New Year's Eve 2015, and I've been working New Year's Eve and July 4th ever since. My role for these events is working on the side ops team for some events and being the backstage manager for others. Making that contact has also allowed me to work a number of one-off events such as the NFL Draft, Nashville Predators playoff parties, PCMA conference, etc. At the end of 2015, I left my job at the Grove Country Club, and there I'd worked to becoming the front of house manager and the events coordinator, but now I was going to go full-time freelance in the events industry, which was terrifying. But each event you work, no matter the position, you get the opportunity to prove your work ethic, to show a positive attitude, and make an impression with people who could think of you for other events. Now, if it wasn't for working July 4th, I would have never met my mentor in business and in life, Dennis Freeman. Next slide. Now, Dennis is a freelance event producer as well and owns his own company, Freeman Enterprises. We worked July 4th together in 2016, and on July 7th, he emailed me and said, "Are you interested in working other events?" And I said, "Yes, of course." And that is where my journey with the Luke Bryan Farm Tour started. Dennis hired me to do advance for the tour. Now, this tour happened every fall for 2 weeks. I was hired to advance details prior to the tour and then also drive the tour the day before, check and set up the event site, and then head to the next site before the tour itself arrived. So I was always one day ahead. Now, this was my first experience working on a tour, though not a normal touring role, since I drove myself and I did not ride the buses. Now, this will be my 8th year with the tour, and this experience has taught me so much about farm fields and site layouts, CAD drawings, weather, EMS and fire staff advance, working with local officials, permits, and driving heavy equipment. Of all the events, this one might be the one that really pushed me into my love for site ops. Now, in addition to working Luke Bryan Farm Tour with Dennis, he also hired me for various marathons, 5K races, Earth Day Festival, Lynn County Fair, and Oregon Jamboree. Dennis was also the first person I met that could draw CAD maps for event sites. And ever since working the ACM Party for a Cause Festival and seeing their CAD, I knew I someday wanted to learn that. And he helped me figure that out. Not only did he give me so many opportunities, but he really has become one of my closest friends and has been there for me every step of the way in events and in life. Love you, Dennis. I know you're here. Now, my next goal was to get into stage management. Next slide, please. Now, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm a very type A personality. I'm very goal-oriented, and I'm always multitasking and love to stay on schedule. So stage management felt like the next step. I applied to be a stage manager for the Americana Music Festival and was chosen for one of the smaller venues, which was a perfect stepping stone. Dennis was looking for a stage manager for Lynn County Fair and Oregon Jamboree and gave me those opportunities. I got to travel out to Oregon with Dennis, and he helped guide me to stage manage multiple successful shows. Now, running parallel to this experience, I had worked my way up to the talent flow manager position for CMA Fest at Nissan Stadium in 2017 and was able to work closely with the stage managers for that show. Cindy Sinclair, a DGA stage manager, took me under her wing and showed me what they do as talent stage managers on that event and encouraged me to explore joining the DGA, Directors Guild of America, as a stage manager. So that next January, she recommended me to stage manage a TV show that was shooting in Nashville, and I took the lead. I worked with a great team and learned as I went. We shot a season of The Three, a talk show that filmed in 3 days with multiple camera shots and multiple guests. That experience was truly a fake it till you make it, because I was not ready. But with the encouragement and the assistance from the people around me, we pulled it off. Then I was brought back in the fall to shoot season 2. So fake it till you make it worked that time. Now I continued to stage manage the shows in Oregon. Then Music City gives back. And finally in 2019, I saved up enough money and had enough experience and recommendations to apply to join the DGA. The application process was intense, and honestly, I didn't do it right. But thankfully, Cindy and Gary helped me sort it out and got me approved the day I was scheduled to start stage managing CMA Fest. I continued to be the talent flow manager for the show and added the duties as the talent stage manager for that role. It's a lot to take on, but I absolutely loved it, and I've been doing it ever since. Now, since becoming a DGA stage manager, I've been able to stage manage CMA Country Christmas, CMA Awards post-COVID, CMT Awards in 2021, and most recently, the 100th anniversary of the Opry, which was a memory of a lifetime. So lucky. So the next stop on my career journey would have to be the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. In 2021, I joined the Grand Prix team to oversee credentials and signage. That's it. In 2019 and 2020, I worked the Super Bowl on the accreditation team. So with that new experience, I was up for the task of managing credentials for this event. Now, I joined the event in May, and the closer we got to the race in August, the more items I started to help with. I ended up helping with a number of operational tasks and created a staffing plan, which allowed me to start hiring people that I had worked with over the years. Year one of that event, how do I describe it other than a very year one event? I'm surprised we survived. But thankfully, the COO, Jason Rittenberry, saw that I was up for more responsibility in year 2 and promoted me to Director of Operations. I continued in that position from 22 to 24 and ended up hiring over 100 people for that event, assisting with sales, sponsorship, in addition to operations, and ended up managing the multi-million-dollar budget that event required. Now, if you worked with me on that event, you know it was a labor of love that I put in blood, sweat, and tears, literally, into that event. But after too many hours to count, devoting to making it the best I could, and after another ownership change in the event itself, it was time to take a step back and let it go. I left in December of 2024, and it was one of the hardest decisions that I've made. And I will always be thankful to the friends who jumped in to work their tails off with me, who went months without sleep to see it succeed, and who encouraged me to let it go when it was no longer the right fit for my life and my health and my relationships. As difficult as that decision was, I'm so thankful that I made it. Next slide. In 2022, I started working live in the Vineyard and Elevation, which has become some of my favorite events to work. Live in the Vineyard is in Napa, California, and Beaver Creek, Colorado for Elevation. I'm the production manager and stage manager for that, for the 3 main events of the festival each time. Now, the team out there is fantastic. The venues are beautiful, and the artists have to play acoustic, so you actually get to see their talent as they perform for radio and music industry executives. Now, in order to be hired, they required I form an LLC instead of being an independent contractor. Now, I'd wanted to start my own company for years, but I never made the leap. I never had the push. So with this event, I had just a few months to make it happen. So that's when Live Events Amplified was born. Now, I formed that LLC in 2022, but I spent every free hour I had for 3 years working on the Grand Prix. So I never had a chance to fully launch my company. So now is the time. I launched Lee at the start of this year, and I've had a blast reliving events I worked as I build my Instagram following and share my experiences. March 13th, my company was hired to produce its first official event, which was an absolute blast. Now, if I was still with the Grand Prix, I would not have had the opportunity to launch my company, would not have been able to get more involved with gigs, to spend more time reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. So sometimes you just got to take the leap. Next slide. So far in my career, I've worked over 200 different shows. So there are many that I didn't get to today, and they're listed here. But looking back, I've learned something from each and every one of these experiences. Most of them, I've learned new tips and tricks for how to be better, but some events have given me good examples of what not to do, which in my experience can be even more impactful to know how to grow and how to be better. A few key takeaways I'd like to leave you with. Number one, stay humble. Don't act like any task is beneath your skill set. All positions are important to the success of an event, and if you're willing to help in any way, that will make a lasting impression. Be honest and own it if you mess up. No one's perfect, and I've messed up more times than I can count. But if something happens, you need to report it, take responsibility, and figure out how to fix it. Build your network. I would not be here and I would not have done the things that I've done if it wasn't for the people around me and the team and the wonderful people I've gotten to work with over the years. There are so many, I just want to list them all, but thank you. Follow up, set reminders in your calendars to reach out to an event for next year if you want to work it. If you were hired in March and the event's in June, then next year reach out in February and say, hey, I loved working this event. When you start hiring, think of me. And then post-event, send a thank you note, send an email, send a handwritten note. I've had a couple people over the years that have mailed me a note post-event, and I still have those to this day. Next slide. Thank you again, Gigs, for the amazing opportunity to kick off this series, and for Nikki for being an absolute rock star and for bringing this revolutionary idea to life. I hope hearing about my journey and the choices that help me gain experiences can also help you if you're looking to get started or looking for ways to expand your experience. Thank you for listening, and I'll open it up for questions.
Amazing. Thank you, Kristen. Everybody give some silent this is what you do in sign language, right? For clapping. Wonderful. Kristen, so cool to hear everything. Annabelle, if you wouldn't mind unsharing. And so we'll make sure Kristen is pinned here. Really, really cool. Insane your trajectory. But I think the thing I admire the most about you, Kristen, is that you are often that person that gives people their first shot. So whenever I would meet someone that just moved to Nashville, I'd be like, oh, you got to get with Kristen because she always needs hands, but you would give people the shot. So I want to start this question first, and then we're going to get to everyone's questions here. You're giving people their first shot. They might not have any experience in this world. What makes you call them back, and what makes you not call them back?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's just the people that stand out, the people that are there, the people you can count on. The first impression is you being there early. I mean, if it comes to call time and you're not there, ding, like, okay, so I can expect you to be late. It's just everything throughout the day, and just seeing those people that do go above and beyond. If you see somebody that's super busy, being like, hey, can I grab you lunch? I'm available, just trying to be active and be present. I think the biggest thing for me that's the turn off, or as I say, would make you fall off the list, would be when people say they're going to do something and they don't. If I have a few people that I've worked with over the years, and I know if they say they're going to do something, it's not going to happen. So just like sticking to your word and saying, yep, I'm going to do that, and I know it's going to be done. Or if you say it's going to be done by the end of the night, I have it. Or you reach out and be like, hey, I know I said I was going to do this. I'm not able to get it done by tonight. I'll have it for you tomorrow. Just communicating and following through, being somebody I can count on.
No, that's huge. Being someone you can count on, you answered that both. That's huge. I'm gonna go and put actually, Christina, since you are you're raising your hand right now, I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight you, and you can unmute and go for it.
Hello. I actually go by Tina. Hooray for the legal names and everything. Um, Kristen, I'm so excited to get to talk to you guys. I'm new to gigs. I'm new to Nashville. I was actually in LA and I worked 12 years in the DGA in Los Angeles. And I would love to ask you, since this is obviously a much smaller market, what is a path you suggest aside from the one you took? Because I wrote it all down. To kind of get into that trajectory, because I know there's much more stage management here. Over there we call it assistant directing, and film and live are very different.
Absolutely. It's really the network. I mean, it's
Yeah.
being able to connect with people that have done it, and it's such a tight-knit group. I've learned that even after doing it for years, I'm still, one of the youngest people that do it, and they've worked together for 40 years. And so it's really hard to get in and be a part of that group. So it's just kind of staying top of mind and reaching out. In order for me to do the Opry, I didn't get asked to do the Opry. I emailed the stage managers. And I was like, hey, if you need anybody, I am available. I'll fly up just in case there's an opening. And thankfully
Yeah.
he responded and was like, yeah, sure. I was like, but
Oh,
I would not gotten that opportunity if I hadn't reached out. And honestly, it was Tracy Jones in the talent team that was like, why don't you just ask? I was like, I could just ask, I guess. I just never, don't want to overstep sometimes, but it's important to put yourself out there. They don't think of you.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tina.
Of course.
Lozo, I saw you had one of the first questions, and I'm asking you to unmute now. And I'm trying to pin you, but I can't find you because I don't know if your video is on.
I'm sorry, I'm driving, and so I'm
Oh,
like
that's okay. Go for
listening
it.
and
I
driving
don't
at
need
the
to.
same time.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Awesome. My question is, what are some applications that you use to track invoices or mileage or expenses? I feel like I'm doing the old-fashioned way, and I have like a receipt like bag and I try to like on Excel keep track of my like if I have a 1099, I'll keep track of where I'm going, but there has to be some sort of app that tracks all those things. And so would love to know if you use any that are more digital, less old school.
Honestly, if anybody else has one, I would love to hear that too. I use Excel and I take pictures of receipts and just airdrop them to myself and drop them into Excel. So one tab is the list of expenses and the other is the pictures of the receipts. And then I just PDF the whole thing, which I know there are programs that do this, but I'm also cheap. And so I haven't made the leap. But if anybody else has one, I would definitely like to hear too.
I think I'm seeing some comments pull up, so I will be reading those. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That is so valuable. Yeah. Wow. Maybe something gigs could get into one of these days. Thank you, Lozo.
Noted.
Helena, I'm going to go to you, unmute, and I'll pin you up right up here.
Hi, Kristen. I'm Helena. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We've got a decent amount in common. I heard you talking about July 4th. I worked July 4th here in Philly and did a bunch of talent liaisoning. You worked the Super Bowl. I liaisoned at the Super Bowl one year. Very cool. And I've done a lot of production running and a lot of liaisoning. I've since gotten into a little bit more of like talent coordination and such. But the one thing you said was about building CAD maps, and that's something I've always been interested in, the actual build of everything. So my question is, what did you do and where did you start to get into the drawing of CADs?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different programs you can use. The main two I know about are Vectorworks and AutoCAD. I feel like the industry is kind of split half and half there. And so you can do free trials. And so I did a free trial, tried to teach myself. I did the AutoCAD and then the Vectorworks. And I liked Vectorworks better. And Dennis uses Vectorworks. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do what he does so I can ask him questions. And they have great training programs and a lot of things on my to-do list is to hone my skills with it. So in working the Grand Prix, we had a base CAD, and when I took over as director of operations, we were going to have to hire someone to do it. And I just thought I would teach myself instead. So I took the old layout and then just started watching tutorials. I bought the program, which is an investment. It's expensive, but then once you have it, right? You can pay to upgrade, but I just keep the base system because it's got everything I need. And then I just started teaching myself one little porta potty at a time.
And that's Vectorworks, you said, right?
It works, yeah.
Vectorworks. So you would say it sounds like the CAD drawings has helped you the most when it comes to site operations. Has it
Yeah,
come,
definitely.
has it come into play with stage management or anything show related, or is it mainly just site?
I mainly use it for site operations,
Mhm.
but you can definitely get into the 3D rendering, which I'm not there yet, for
Okay.
stage and for stage plots and for lighting plots and all of that, building out actual architectural drawings. It's amazing what you can do with it. But right now I just use it for site layout of where everything goes.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helena. I said it wrong. Sorry about that. All right, I'm gonna
Helena.
remove the spotlight. Okay. Would love Sonia, I would love for you to come on. I think you have such a great question. Where did she go? Oh, did she
I'm
just
here.
leave? There she
No,
is.
I'm here.
All right, I'm trying to spell you. This is way harder than I
Hi,
thought. Got you. All right, go for it.
I'm Sonia Potskellen-Price. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you and thank you for coming to talk to us. Your background is so amazing. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and my question is, you mentioned accreditation as one of your roles, and I'm kind of tinkering with that. I'm more of the production coordination. I used to be a graphics operator, and then I transitioned back and forth in and out of different roles. But accreditation roles are interesting to me. Can you just expand on your role, what your responsibilities were? How did you migrate into it? And what was the best part and maybe the not so best part of that job experience that you had?
Yeah, for sure. So yes, accreditation, it is, I love it because of all the details in it. And it's computer based, which I love working on the computer. So for Super Bowl, it was definitely, just diving into the deep end, starting there. I think we did like 40,000 credentials or something ridiculous. So for that, I started out just working in quality control as actually printing the credentials and checking them and making sure that all the information was correct, the picture was correct, people weren't submitting pictures with glasses on, or some people, it was the time of when Snapchat started and people would submit pictures with dog ears. And I'm like, that's can't be used as your credential picture. So going through and making sure all of that was correct. And then my next year I got to move into a management role of the team, which is where I like to be. And that's where, when I first started, the hardest thing about it was that we were there for like a month and there wasn't enough staff for what we needed to do. So people were working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everybody wasn't taking care of themselves. People were getting sick. I remember they brought in a doctor to give us all B12 shots because we were just dropping like flies, because it was just so much in such a short amount of time. And so I think when it can be managed, when you have enough staff, when you have enough printers, when you have what you need to do the job, then it can be super fun and satisfying. But sometimes you're just in a place where you're kind of set up to fail a little bit, and it's not worth it, So I think if you can get on a good team, if you can get with a good leader that's taking care of people. I remember we had to load in at, I don't know, I think 2 a.m. for game day. And there was like no waters and no snack bars. And, you got to take care of your team. You got to take care of your people. So that's what I kind of always go back to, not really specific to accreditation. It's really anywhere, but, yeah, I think it's a great place to be, especially if you're a people person, if you're on the distribution side and being able to talk to everyone. It's very cool. So definitely, I encourage you. I started with Populous accreditation, and they do a lot of different NHL, NFL stuff, NHL stuff, all kinds. But yeah, Populous does a lot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
All right, I am asking, yeah, Alex Power I love your question. Let's get you up on here.
Hello there. Hello there. Thank you for your time and for this whole class. This is really cool to be a part of. I just moved into Tennessee. I currently live in Chattanooga, so I'm new to this area and new to this part of the industry and the market. But my primary question is, I specialize in logistics and heavy machinery, so that's what I do most of my time. But I really am interested in becoming a stage manager and having an opportunity to work into like sporting events, kind of in the similar sense as you have as well. I started as a hand, and I have that in a humble way, the chip on your shoulder, where there's never no such thing as too much. You want to get it done. You want to find the next gig. You want to find the next person to meet. Would you say, like, if you were hiring a stage manager, but you know that they're green for that position, what would be a couple of things that you really look for as like a strong suit to kind of get them going? I'm just really curious about that. I love your journey and getting a chance to be able to hear it. It sounds very similar to the path that I'm currently on, and it's nice to hear your words and how you've done it. So I'm just really curious, kind of your perspective on that.
Yeah, for sure. I I think there's so many ways to get involved. And I think too, it's what kind of stage manager you want to be. So I really love stage managing a festival. and doing the non-TV stuff because it's a little more lax. It's not life or death if you're not on at 7 o'clock and 2 seconds, you know, like with live TV. So a
Right.
little less stress, which I like. And with that, I would just start, you know, trying to get in with the talent team or trying to be an assistant TM or just a production assistant even, and seeing what the stage manager's doing, seeing how you can help them. And then when a role opens up, you can kind of step into that. I always just believe in working from the ground up everywhere you go, because that way you can learn everything. So I love that for festival stage managing. And then DGA stage managing, it's very different, obviously, trying to get into the guild. And you have to have so much experience already to even apply. So that's why it's good to start with non-TV stuff and then try to work your way into TV if that's something you want to do. That's definitely more high stress, but also much better pay. So that's why it's worth it.
Very good. Yeah, I just love hearing your journey. I started as a stagehand a couple of years ago, and now I'm the backstage operations logistics coordinator for Danny Wimmer. So I'm just
Nice.
trying to find little ins
Exactly.
and outs, and I just want to stay busy. And it's great to get a chance to speak with you.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Alex. I want to just make a little note because I've been seeing in the chat what people, oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me remove. Okay. Seeing in the chat, a lot of people have similar questions. One being, where should I reach out? You know, what platforms do I go to? Lozo recommended Facebook groups, but also I do want to make an announcement that Gigs is coming out with a new feature called the Gigs Directory. We're trying to list all of these kind of companies where if you're interested in audio, you go to audio, it's free. Everyone can go on and you can just try to get in contact with any company, at least just seeing what's out there. So that should be coming this month, actually. And then I wanted to ask, this one question, because Alex had a great question about really what is the stage management role? How'd you get into that? You mentioned front of house flow. Now, when I was tasked that one time, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Would you mind just talking about that for a second, about what that really entails, what that means, and what skills you need to do that role?
Sure. Yeah. So front of house flow, really, I've worked that role for award shows. And that's basically, we have a team in the front of the house that's making sure everyone is in their seats on time, communicating if they're not making it to their seats. For instance, the biggest stress is CMA Awards and the opening monologue, because they go to a lot of artists in that opening monologue. And if they're not in their seat, then the camera cannot get the shot when Luke Bryan calls out Jelly Roll and he's not there. Then that's on the front of house team for not getting him there. So your job is to make sure that they're in their seat when they're supposed to be, to pull them on commercial breaks, to get back to their dressing room, to get ready to perform. And so really it's just knowing how to talk to artists and kind of be a little forceful when you need to, of like, nope, it's time to go or you're going to miss your cue. Like, we have to move now, and we have to move during commercial so you don't interrupt the shot. So just being confident and sneaky, because you're in all black and you're trying to sneak around and not be seen. I think Josh Castle has a great story where he ended up laying down on the floor because it was 1 second away from the live shot, and he just laid down to get out of the camera shot because you can't be caught on camera. It's like my favorite Josh story. So I think it's about being confident, knowing where everyone's seated. So when they come to you and Ashley McBride's like, where's my seat? You need to know exactly where to take her, be able to pull a seat filler out of her way, get her into her seat, and then get out. So it's a really exciting role. It's a really fun thing to do, but you've got to be quick and be able to adjust as things don't go as planned, when people don't get up like they should, or people roll in late when they shouldn't. But working with a good team and getting in, that's another great opportunity. When you get in early and you work with other people that have done it, then you can learn how all of that works without too much pressure, because you can start with just a couple artists to keep an eye on.
Very cool. Very cool. I would love to unmute Giacomo here. And then when you start, then I can start pinning you.
Okay, so hi everyone. First of all, it's nice to meet you. It's such a pleasure, such an honor. Thank you so much, Kristen, to do this incredible, outstanding masterclass. Thank you so much to Nikki, and thank you so much also to all the rest of the Geeks team for making it happen. So I'm Giacomo, I'm from Milan, Italy, and I have two questions for you. The first one is, what are maybe your best tips that you will give to someone that want to, I don't know, start to work in the music industry, but has no experience in it, because maybe like me, comes from a totally different field. And the other one is what being a leader means to you.
Yes. What was the second question? Can you repeat that?
And what being a leader means to you.
Great question.
Thank you.
So I definitely just recommend any way to volunteer, anything you can get. That's the best way to start out, is just volunteering as a production assistant or as a talent escort. That's where most of my people that I bring in from MTSU or Vandy or Belmont are students that don't have any experience, and I hire them as a talent escort because it's very low pressure, but you can see the business, you can learn the business, and then you can kind of move up from there. So definitely any opportunity to volunteer, get involved, I recommend. I was desperate to work the Super Bowl one year for the field team, and I paid to work because they didn't really pay anything. And I paid because I just wanted to be involved and get the experience. So just finding stuff to jump in, definitely recommend. And then I think it means everything to be a leader. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that I've had and the teams I've been able to work on and then build. And being able to hire the 100 people for the Grand Prix is one of the proudest things I've gotten to do because everyone's so great, and it takes a lot to work with that team, and that's something I think that you're always growing in, because there's a lot of opportunities that I know I could have done better in a leadership role, because you're always learning and growing, but I love it, and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to work with and meet awesome people like you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Giacomo, all the way from Italy. Let's go. Thank you.
Let's go.
I do have a question, and Gavin, I'll get right to you right after this. That just kind of led me to, we touched a little bit on stage management, but I would love for you to dive in a little deeper, because anyone that's worked an award show or an event with you, Kristen, I've had the radio in my ear and I've wanted to rip it out and throw it away because it's so overwhelming. But you actually have to listen to every single thing that's going on to know where everyone is. Can you talk about how you make sure you know exactly what's going on at all time and manage that pressure?
Absolutely. So I think thankfully as stage managers, you have a talent team that you rely on. So they kind of lean on talent a lot more. So I'll speak to when I'm in that talent role, because that's when it's really your responsibility to tell the stage managers where talent is. So you have to know everything. And so, yeah, you've got the radio in your ear all the time. You've got talent flow leads that are really focused on tracking that information for you. And then my favorite thing that I added a few years ago was the WhatsApp groups. And so I love communicating with WhatsApp because there's a lot of times that you don't hear the radio. So it's a good way to go back and see what calls you've missed, because you can scroll back up and be like, oh, Carrie did arrive. She arrived here at 7:02. Like I have a ledger of exactly when people arrived and where they're going, which helps the flow team to track. And then you can separate groups. You can make communities. I can have, this is the bands and they're tracking those movements. So I'm not hearing about the bands on the radio because you care, but you don't care as much as the principal talent. So I want to look on my WhatsApp to make sure all the band members are here. And I want to hear that Carrie Underwood's arrived. So trying to have multiple forms of communication and tracking. And then also we started an Excel live Google Sheet. And so I track all the movements live, and then I can share that with managers. So I can look at my grid and I can see exactly where everyone is at the same time. And I can look and see Ashley's in her dressing room, Carrie's on stage, this person hasn't arrived yet, this person's on their bus. So everyone is aware of where everyone is at the same time, which really helps with the repeated questions when you get people asking and you're like, I already called that, but you can just look on the sheet because it's there.
Wait, how do you do that? Do you use Excel like sheets? Google?
Yep, Google Sheets.
Like a drop down of this is where they're at that, and it's all updated.
Yep. And so it's live. Tara manages that for me on awards. And then I'll do all the polls for all the commercial breaks. So I know commercial 6, we need to be pulling her. And right now she's in her bus. So we need to get her to her dressing room. And so I've I love a spreadsheet. I love
We
them.
need Wi-Fi to make that happen.
Yes.
That's the fear with how, wow. Okay.
Yes. And then, yeah, you're back to radios without Wi-Fi.
Yes. Okay, Gavin, would love to pin you. Go for it.
So, regarding that last conversation, I have one follow-up question. I assume you're on a separate net than the audio or the video teams. Talking, yes. So you have you're using free speak, I'd assume. I guess that makes a ton of sense. That's really cool. I'm Gavin. I am a stagehand and audio engineer from St. Louis, Missouri. I work for about 5 companies at the PRN W2 kind of freelancing, and then I also mix bars, and I do some corporate event stuff as well. Primarily audio engineer and stagehand. I've been in this industry for about 3 years now and went to school for it as well, which did not teach me as much as I'd want to know. My question is about the geographical areas. I am feeling kind of limited by where I am because I'm in not a very small market, but a small market, and I'm working for almost every production company in my market. How do you make the jump from one market to another, and how do you make the jump from one role to another? Do you have any tips?
That is a great question. I feel like gigs can probably help a lot because they now have gigs in every market. But yeah, moving from it, I think you just got to take the leap if you really want to do it, and being willing to travel. Or I would start by picking up gigs and traveling to those without actually moving your whole market. I'm currently living in the Keys because life is weird, but I travel all the time for work. And so just being flexible and being able to start putting those branches out of your spider web. And then eventually when you have enough gigs in another location and you want to make that move, you can, because at least you have some groundwork set. Yeah, that's a tough one.
That
but
makes a ton of sense, and it's probably just all who you know and trying to build those contacts in the other markets. Okay, thank you.
Nate has a response here, Gavin. He started freelancing a few months ago, started searching as if I was a company looking to hire a production company for an event. Then I started looking up who the higher ups were and messaging them through LinkedIn. And if you LinkedIn Sales Navigator is definitely like a monthly investment. I want to say it's like $100 a month, but you can DM anyone on LinkedIn that way. Eventually, gigs will get to that point where we can offer that kind of service. But that is something that I used to do. And then also Instagram DMs, unfortunately, work very well in this industry too.
They definitely do. That's something of our experience. So that is something that I've been thinking about, but I have not actually done. You would recommend an Instagram, LinkedIn Premium membership.
Yes, for the ability to DM people. And I think just go for KPIs here. What I used to do was, oh, well, I messaged 5 people. I probably have 5 gigs coming. If I message 5 people, I might have 0 coming. If I message 25 people, I might have 1 coming. So go for KPIs, reach out to, like in Nashville, I reached out to all these different corporate DMCs, destination management companies to work for. I think I emailed my resume to 12 of them and I started working for 3 of them part-time. So I would definitely go for numbers on this, which LinkedIn could really have. And hopefully our directory that's coming soon could help you know which companies to reach out to.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had someone else in here. Billy Farrell, was your question answered? Are you still in here? Yes, you are.
I am. Yes. Hi. Can you
Go
hear
for
me?
it.
Are we
Let me
good?
pin you.
Okay.
Billy.
Hi. So great to see you. Can you hear me? Is my audio working?
Yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. Okay, great. It was answered, but I kind of have a kind of follow-up question, if that's okay. So being that I know that you do mostly freelance and a lot of people do freelance as well, how do you budget? Like just in general, knowing that you do freelance?
Yeah, great question. So again, I love a spreadsheet. And so I have a calendar. I've made a year calendar in Excel. And so it's got all of the days of the year. And then I've got any of the gigs that I'm working off to the side. And so I basically set my budget for what I need per month to pay my bills and live. And then I have all of the gigs that I'm working. And so I can see each month if I'm going to make my budget or if I'm not. And I can see, okay, in August, I'm going to make double my budget. But in January, I'm not making anything. So I need to make sure that I save this money from August for January. So I've got it all laid out for the year of my budget per month, my gigs, and then I can see it for the year of if I'm going to hit it or if I need to go back to bartending.
Yeah.
There we go. Had to unmute. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific tool that you use for budgeting?
I should, but nope, Excel.
Your own kind of
I'm
spreadsheet?
behind. Yeah.
I was using something Intuit ended up buying. I'm looking at my phone right now because I haven't been on it clearly enough. It's called Monarch. I really liked Monarch. If
Okay.
anyone's used that before. I think Intuit ended up buying Monarch, but it's good if it connects with all your bank accounts and then you can actually you can see where you're going over.
Love it. Definitely need that.
Love that. Okay. That's pretty much most of the questions that were already asked. If anyone else has anything else, please raise your hand in here. Okay, Lois says work for DMCs. Yep, absolutely. My last question here that I was writing down is early. Oh, yay, we got two more, but I do want to ask this real quick. Sorry. How many times do you follow up with someone before you let it go?
Such a great question. I would do once within like a couple weeks or a month, and then like give it a breather. I do have a few people that reach out every couple weeks, and it's like, okay, that's a lot, and I can't help you any more than I have responded. But if someone hasn't responded, I would definitely give it a couple weeks. I use Boomerang, so my emails always come back to me and remind me to follow up with people, which I love. I would definitely, follow up within the month if you're trying to get a response on something. And then if not, I would give it probably 6 months and then circle back and then try to find other ways to get to them.
That's awesome. Thank you. Stuart Ritchie.
Hi, I do apologize. I'm at a load-in right now, so it's a noisy arena. I wanted to say thanks for taking your time. And my question for you is, you gave us your history on how you came to be where you are now, but I'm curious what led you into the mentorship side of this. So you've spent the time with us, you obviously mentor in the community, and I'm kind of curious about what drew you to that part of it.
Great question. I think I've just been so fortunate to have people around me that have been mentors to me and I've now have enough experience that I want to try to give back. And really, I think it all started with the list. I started building this networking list and then started having people reach out. And I didn't really see myself in that role. But the more people reached out and then the more people I started hiring, it was just kind of naturally started happening. And I just love it. I just want to help connect people with more people and help get people jobs, and we're all in this together, and it's a surprisingly small world. So I just want to help as much as I can. I don't
know. Thank you.
And you're wearing Stuart, is that called a biscuit or another term?
We call this a biscuit. Sometimes I've heard people call it a parakeet as well, depending on where in the world you're from. But
yeah, a parakeet. I feel like I've heard something else. Does anyone else know another term for that? I always called it a biscuit. Maybe that's because I'm from the South.
I've heard speaker mic.
Speaker mic. Okay. It's way less fun. No. And then to close, we'll get Jenna up on here.
Oh, I don't know if I can hear you.
I don't know if your audio, I know you're unmuted, but I don't think your audio is working. No. Oh, feel free to write your question in and I'm happy to read it out for you. Yeah, she's got it. As she's getting, I'm going to link this link one more time. If you want to book a time with Kristen, it is in this link here. Feel free also to share this with your friends, anyone else that you think would really benefit from learning from her and meeting with her. And shout out to all the pets that we've been able to see on this call. Yes, Stuart, so true. I love it. Thank you all for making it, for being here. Okay, here we go, Jenna. What are your biggest focuses aside from time management when you first step on the job site?
Just learning the site. Just trying to be aware of all of my surroundings, taking pictures of everything, especially if I'm in an ops role. Even before you start load in, you want to take pictures of everything so people don't blame you for damage that was already there. But just getting familiar with your surroundings, preparing for the next day, taking notes, setting alarms. I'm big on setting alarms for everything I have to do every day. I set all of the alarms, including lunch and dinner, so you eat, but also any tasks that I have. Yes, alarms are key. So many alarms. But yeah, I think just getting acclimated with what you need to do.
How do you keep track of everyone's name that you meet on site?
I don't. I'm not good at it. I'm really not. I'm just always like, hey, so good to see
you, security guy. Yeah. With that, thank you, Jenna. I'm going to remove here. Thank you everyone for joining. Again, feel free. I know we only had an hour with Kristen, but I really hope you guys learned something from it, got your questions answered. If you have more and want to meet Kristen, go ahead and book that one-on-one. I'll follow up with an email with the recording. We're going to hopefully also host that within Gigs app so that you can go back to it anytime, especially as a Platinum user. And if you have any questions, reach out to us at info@gigs.live or support@gigs.live. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you so much to Kristen. Can we give her a big round of applause, please? A silent round of applause.
So much. It was an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. And then Kristen, how can people follow you?
Yeah, if you want to follow Live Events Amplified on Instagram, that's where we're at.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you all. And we will have our next Mentor Masterclass in 2 weeks. So we'll send out an email about that and hope to see you guys then too. Bye guys. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.